Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next 2 hours, along with Gal, who's back.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. And Nick is here.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. And Spence is here. Spence.
And he's muted. He's a Spence a professional broadcaster.
He's keeping it quiet.
He's muted inside the hangout.
Oh, he was just talking. Interesting.
You broke it, Amnon. Good job.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software, Telestreams, Wirecast Software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So summer is back. We skipped over spring. Last night we had warm rain, which is fine. It happens.
That storm system that pushed across the southern half of the U.S. yesterday was pretty intense. It killed like 24 people or something.
You're kidding.
No. In parts of Alabama and Mississippi.
I guess by the time it got here, it kind of fell apart a little bit.
Well, it didn't fall apart. I mean, I was just looking at some stuff. There was a tornado warnings for Clinton up on I-40 near Goldsboro.
Did you? What kind of weather did you have down in Wilmington?
No, apparently nothing. Nothing woke me up. It was kind of a squall line, so it all kind of hugged the northern area.
Yeah, our power went out about 3, 4 o'clock. I don't know, and started the generator. And
did it have a good time after it went out?
I guess.
And then it came back.
I should have said.
Was it drunk when it got back?
We were sitting in the living room watching TV. About 9:30, the power went out for about 5 seconds and came back. And I mean, I jumped up and I said, "Oh, really?" I mean, I looked outside, no wind, no rain yet. It was normal outside. And it was fine until this morning. But that's what happens. So Windows 7 is on its deathbed, isn't it?
2 days. I believe, right? Isn't the 14th?
Yep, 14th.
Yep.
So so it's actually really one more day, right? Because if it's the 14th, it will be 12:01 on Tuesday, right?
I don't know.
So
how
really
they're gonna
one
look
more
at it.
business day.
I mean, people don't need to
Throw away your computer if it's running Windows 7 and buy a new one. You
Well,
got
you know
one day
what?
left.
There are people out there that unfortunately that are taking advantage of this and scaring people. Oh yeah, you're going to have to, your machine's going to stop working on this date, and you have to scare. I mean, scaring people.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, really nothing is going to happen. The computer is going to keep on running. And
there are lots of websites up that talk about, well, you can survive without upgrading.
you cannot, they say?
No, you can. No, you can. Yeah,
Of course
here's
you
what to
can.
do if you want to keep using
Yeah.
Windows 7.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not ultimately advised in the long run, but and
It's,
Amnon, I did finally get to the point where I am comfortable going through I did use Aomi, and the reason why I kept getting the upgrade prompt was because I was selecting an advanced feature. To do the SSD optimization is considered an advanced feature in the backup or basic. So it would say you need to purchase the
so how did you do
premium version. I did it. I used just the basic version.
it? How
And
did
I
you do
also
an
used-
SSD? Wait. How did you use the basic version with an SSD? You see?
You can. It just treats it like you said.
As a hard drive. Yeah. I never pay attention to say there, oh, this is an SSD, this is that. It's a hard drive. As far as the system is concerned, Nick, do you still have the free one, right?
Yeah.
Did you have a problem working it with the SSD?
I have no idea. It was like
No.
like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I use it here.
No, it's not a problem. It's just optimization.
But you can optimize it after the fact with that program. I can't remember the name of it.
True. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, it's part of the process.
Yeah,
Well,
but
actually,
Spence,
if you buy a Samsung SSD, it comes with a Samsung data migration tool, which is the same thing, and it does not even ask you if you want to.
But Spence spent a lot of time trying, because I told him use Aomi because that's what I use and I like it, and Nick recommended it. And he was having a problem, and I said, "No, I mean, I don't understand. I just click clone, and it goes and it does it. No, you have to do this and this with SSD." And it kept telling him that he needs to purchase it. So I'm glad it finally worked. And I thought you used something else to begin with. The Acronis, was it, Spence? Spence is frozen, isn't he?
Mhm.
Yep. But it's a great program, and it works. Gal, what are you using when you need to clone?
I have not cloned a hard drive in so long.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I usually deal with I try not to clone hard drives. I try to just focus on the data.
Okay.
Yeah. I approach things differently.
Well, you think you're special or something?
No, I'm just weird, that's all.
I need to do a reinstallation of Windows so bad, but
Do
I don't clone either, Gal.
No, do it. What it does, it just moves all of your core things to a separate folder. It doesn't overwrite them.
Yeah, but I mean, I need to do a total. I want to do completely wipe it clean because I've got a lot of junk I don't need. So I'm waiting for that.
Well, you don't. That's what I'm saying. It's like you don't need to wait. A fresh installation still just moves the existing Windows installation to separate folders, right? That do not touch your OS at all. They become just this data junk that you can later delete, and you get a fresh OS on your hard drive.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about when you can choose keep my files and programs. Is that what you're talking about?
No. If you say don't keep my files, right? Like, you know what? I don't remember the prompts, but when you install it, it basically moves the old installation aside instead of deleting it. So instead of upgrading or fixing the existing one, right? You're starting from fresh. And
so what do I do?
Built into
Download
the
a Windows 10 to ISO?
Yeah, just to download the media
creation tool.
Media creation tool. Run that. Yeah, and say
Interesting.
that you want a fresh install. Yeah.
Maybe I'll try that.
All right, Gal, and here's a curveball at you.
Hmm.
I have on the bench a laptop that the I don't know if the computer went crazy and screwed up the hard drive or what, but it didn't work anymore.
Okay.
So I figured, all right, there is a backup. I'm going to just install Windows.
Okay.
Apparently, there was Windows 10 Home on it,
Okay.
and I'm putting Windows 10 Pro.
Pro. Right. That
I
requires a
tried,
different
huh?
activation. That requires a different activation.
It will, but the thing is, when you do it, I did it about, I don't know, 7, 8 times. And I went ahead and erased the signatures and did this and did that. Every time you go to activate, no, we cannot because you have a Windows 10 Home on the machine and you're trying to put Windows 10 Pro and you don't have a key. I said, I do have a key. Here it is. It will not do it. I reformatted the drive. I mean,
Well, the ID for the machine,
yeah,
right, is based on hardware signatures.
but where is
based
it?
on MAC address, CPU ID,
Where
stuff like that.
where does it keep it?
Oh, it's in the hardware.
Oh, well, I went into the BIOS and I cleared. It had something there, but clear all digital.
Yeah, but that's for what you're talking about, the BIOS and clearing. That's for security signatures. That's something different.
Yeah, that's what it was. Security
Right.
signatures.
Yeah, no. So Microsoft, when they invented this activation scheme, they went all in when it comes to identifying the system, right? But
Okay.
still, I don't see how you wanting to upgrade, let's call it
Right,
that,
it's
to a
upgrade.
Pro,
Mhm.
right? How come it's a problem unless you can always enter a product key manually?
I did. That's what I'm
And it
doing.
didn't
Every
accept it?
time I'm starting from scratch, and the
Yeah.
first thing it asks you is to put the product key, and I do it. And when it's finished and I go to activate it, it says we can't do it. So you hit on go to the store and you go to the store and you click I have a key and it
Yeah.
gives you that option again and you enter it and it says no, you have a Windows 10 Home, something like that about the digital signature or something. And I'm saying, where are you guys keeping it? And I know they're not keeping it on their server somewhere because I disconnect the internet. Because some articles say to do it like that, and it's still saying that. And I cannot figure out what else to do. Somebody said you have to completely reset the motherboard, but that I guess that means
But they have a phone activation service where you can speak with the
it
person.
doesn't. Yeah, but it doesn't give you the chance to do that. I tried to do all kind of different things to get in, and it doesn't give you that option. I couldn't get that option.
I've got an idea.
Yeah.
What if you install Windows Home?
That's what I thought last night before I went to bed. I said,
install Windows Home and then just update it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that because I can't see any other way.
Yeah, that's what I would probably. I mean, it's not the greatest solution, but that's probably what That's what I'd probably recommend.
Yeah,
Just
but I mean,
install regular Home because if it's already got a key, what do you need Pro for?
well, I mean, I don't have a. I guess I need to get an ISO Home and try it. And
Yeah, you can download the media
at this
creation
point,
tool.
I don't. Okay, there's supposed to be a key on the back of the laptop. There isn't.
Not
Where is it?
There's not one.
So how do I get a key? Or is
You
it
don't.
gonna?
It's hardware ID.
Okay.
You don't need a key.
Okay.
That's as Gal was just talking
Right.
about. That's part of this whole Windows 10 thing. I have a license key.
Yeah.
It's not anywhere where I can get it. It's hardware ID.
Yeah. There. I came across some instructions how to erase all the digital signature something. You run a command line, and it
Yeah, but
gives.
that's for encryption. I don't think that'll affect
No,
activation.
this was because of having a problem installing Windows 10 Pro when I did that, and it gives you a like a printout of the product ID, key, and activation ID, and all that, and they say write down the activation ID, and then you run the same program slash something else, and they say enter that ID in there when you run that, and now you can go ahead and do whatever. No, didn't do it.
Interesting. Very interesting.
There's something unpack or I can't remember. Volume manager. I don't remember what it was. I mean, I was tired.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, and I said, okay, a lot of people now are going to need to upgrade. Now, if they're going from 7, I guess if you go from 7 home to 10 Pro,
you won't.
It won't let you?
No, because you're going to do if you're doing the upgrade through the Windows 7 to Windows 10 upgrader, you don't choose what OS. It just automatically updates you.
Automatically does it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you're not. And I mean, I don't know why somebody would want to go from home to Pro if they're not using it in a business application. And if it's a business application, you're already using Pro. So
true.
Yeah, I mean, we've done just in the past couple of weeks, I've done probably 2 or 3 dozen 7 to 10 upgrades, and going from Pro to Windows 7 Pro to Windows 10 Pro, you don't select your license. You just say, "Do I want to keep my files or not?" And then it just updates.
Yeah, well, I guess the reason why all the 7s that I upgraded went okay because they were 7
Pro.
Ultimate or 7 Pro. Whatever.
Yeah. Do you need Pro on this computer?
No, it does.
Yeah, then I would just stick with home.
Yeah.
Hell with it.
Yeah, I have a machine, my dad's machine back in Israel, still
Mhm.
runs Windows 7, and I really want to upgrade him. The thing is that he has so much legacy software there that he's still using that
Mhm.
I don't know if it'll survive,
Well,
and that scares me a bit.
Run a VM.
the way I mean, I have a lot of legacy programs. So what I did is I tried the ones like my billing program
Right.
is from the mid 90s. I ran it. I mean, it's a Windows program. It's a file maker thing, but it doesn't have like Windows that it puts this here, this there. It's all in one folder, wherever you want to
Yeah.
put it. So
Yeah.
I put it on a Windows 10 machine and ran it, and it ran. I remember with 7, I had to tell it to run in XP SP3 compatibility in the beginning, but then suddenly it worked fine
Mm.
without compatibility. So you can do that if you can. You see, you need to clone it and then upgrade and see if something doesn't work, because you don't have that luxury of having a program either to install it. Installing it probably won't work on
Yeah.
10, but
Well, I don't know if he has the installers,
yeah,
it's
a
like,
lot of these programs will run under 10, and if they don't, you can always go to the property and say run it in compatibility mode of like Windows 7. If it's a
Right.
Windows 7 program, it will run.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Okay, yeah, most of
Yeah.
the time.
Or the VM approach, which isn't the sexiest solution, but
No,
it
it's a good point, but I need to clone the machine first into a VM.
Yeah, you do. You
Yeah.
definitely do, especially if it doesn't have the originals.
Well, why would you have to clone the machine? You could run Windows 10 and then just the software that doesn't run, you would just use a Windows 7 VM on the computer to
I would still
run.
clone it first
No,
Well,
to be
for
on
a
the
backup.
safe side.
the moment I upgrade,
Mhm.
so with Nick's approach, I'll need to install Windows 7 inside a VM.
Yeah.
Right. With cloning, I'll just need to run it inside a VM exactly as it used to be. But I'll need to figure out what parts of the content I'll need to remove from the clone, right? Because
Exactly.
it'll be just space management. But yeah.
Hello.
Hey, it's me. Sorry, I had a hard power problem here at the desktop. I still haven't figured out what happened yet.
So your computer is still down?
No, it's up, but I don't know why it blinked twice. And I'm wondering, I had been working on upgrading and playing around with my machine on the desktop here that I moved around this morning, and I did something to the power. So
you're saying the power blinked or the computer blinked?
Well, the computer blinked because something happened to the power strip I was using.
Oh.
So I got to figure out what's going on. But I feel like I don't want to miss out on this discussion.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
So
You're welcome to Computers 2K Now. We talk about technology. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do. I have an old Windows XP machine with lots of programs. I want to upgrade it to Windows 7. Is that possible?
Go ahead, Amnon. You're an expert.
Yeah, absolutely. Just put. Look, if it's, I think you'd be better off. Windows.
I just went through the Windows 7 to Windows 10 upgrade process, and the very latest. I used the media creator to create the very latest version on a flash drive, and I just said create for another computer, plugged it into this Windows 7, and it'll do the survey of the machine. It'll check the hardware. It'll check the running programs. It'll tell you which programs are incompatible. It will actually tell you, like, if you have Microsoft Security Essentials running, it'll tell you have to uninstall it.
Interesting.
So it does do a pretty good job of checking most of the software. The good news is the two I have to upgrade tomorrow, I actually installed as Windows 7 machines only about 2 or 3 years ago. So there's not a lot of legacy crap on them that I'm going to have to deal with.
So this past week at work, we've switched most of our customers are running 10, but we've got a couple that are stupid and wanted to wait till the last minute. And
I hope none of them are listening to this radio.
Well, I mean, it's the truth. We've been trying to get people upgraded for us. I mean, I've only been with the company about 4 months, but my boss has been telling people for like a year, like, hey, we got to get you on 10. We got to get you on 10. We got to get you on 10. I've actually been running, and this was nobody wanted to do this, and I said, I asked my boss, like, can we just try it and see what happens? He said, sure. I've actually been doing the upgrades remotely. I've been going in at night, logging into the computer. I actually Amnon watched me doing the other day.
But remember, you have one good thing going on for you is that those machines really don't have anything on them other than Windows and
well, those specific ones, but some of the other ones, the same thing. So I've just been going in, downloading the media creation tool like Spence says, but instead of choosing for another machine, I'm running it as an exe on the computer. And then when the customer gets in the morning, it's just booted up. It's booted up to a login screen. They just have to Control Delete and log in. It's flawless.
Where
it really
are all
is.
my files?
Yeah, I mean, we've had one computer that had an issue. It crashed on installation.
Oh.
So we had to bring it back, and then we used an ISO, and it worked fine. But I've upgraded probably a dozen. I've updated probably 20 machines remotely using the Windows 10 media creation tool with no intervention from us after running the tool.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much my experience as well. Whether local or remote, is you run the media creation tool, you log in, and you're done. It
Yeah,
just
I mean,
takes a long time. That's all.
It does. Yeah, it'll take about 2 hours to do the upgrade, depending on what you're doing. Depending on the specs of the computer.
I mean, even the download takes a long time, right? Just
yeah.
the initial download.
Yeah, mine were taking maybe 30 minutes. One other thing to note too, Spence, you said you got the most recent version. So the media creation tool currently is currently downloading 1903, which is the last big update. When you actually install, when you actually get up and running, you do have to go to the updates tab again and download 1909. So be aware that when you get on for the first time, before you start tinkering around, go to the updates tab and install 1909, which is the latest version of Windows.
Yeah, in fact, it took about, and this is a dual core AMD, an older machine I just pulled in from the storage cabinet and threw a drive in it. And I didn't have any running Windows 7 machines to play with. I had to actually install Windows 7. So I took an old a disk I had laying around with Windows 7 Ultimate. It was one I actually had used that license to upgrade a machine. So I never actually registered it. So, but it let me do it. It actually let me upgrade it to Windows 10. And never said, "Hey, this license is already used." But I never did activate it. Yeah, it didn't care. It was amazing. But it never actually. And another thing that I saw, one of the web pages said, if you're going to upgrade, you have to have a Microsoft ID. No, you don't. At least not yet.
No reason for that. You need that only if you want the feature of allowing Microsoft to reset the password for you if you lost access.
Right. Otherwise, just go offline.
You don't need it. Yeah.
Well, it is if you have licenses like Office 365 or anything like that where you need to keep track. If you're a company and you manage your license, you got to have it.
Right, but you already have that, so you don't need to create that. That's what I'm.
My first couple of Windows 10 machines I had in the beginning I did not have a Microsoft ID. I eventually got it just because I wanted to keep track of what machines had what on them where.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it reluctantly.
Understandable.
Yeah, I just had to go through the process. I installed a lot of Windows 10 cold, clean installs, and I hadn't done an upgrade in so long from 7. I'm doing them tomorrow on a customer, and I have to have done this recently. I don't feel comfortable, but
it'll be
fine.
It'll be fine.
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. I just and I realized what I'm going to do is just for my own comfort zone. I have backups of these machines. They're not all that recent. I mean, full clonable, full recovery backups, but they're probably 6 months old. I'm starting now with a methodology with them that I have a hard drive I leave there, a USB 3 hard drive with recovery flash drives for each machine, and I'm going to have set them up with a schedule where I'm going to have them do a monthly backup, just so if it does crash, it won't be as painful. They do have file backup to Mozy, and I think I actually have individual USB portable hard drives connected to the machines just to do local backups. So I just, like you said, Amnon, you can't have enough backups.
Right. So tell us, what are you doing with the computer now while we're talking?
Right now I'm just I'm going to have to dig down behind my desk, and I'm going to do that in a minute. I wanted to be part of the conversation first. I'm going to go off in a second. I'll go figure out. I think what happened was I was using I have a 4-way KBM here, and I was using the fourth connection, and I couldn't get my microphone on the swing arm to work until I moved that desktop onto the floor, and I pulled on the power cord that was plugged in, and a power strip, and I think I might have done something. So I was I was sliding the case across the floor, and the power blinked twice. So whatever I did, it's on now, but I got to make sure it's secure.
Yeah, go ahead and do it so you'll be ready for the specials at least, or we'll know. Yeah.
Oh, you need to talk about your new the Amnon 16. Did you look at the specials?
I loaded it, but I don't. What?
All right, we'll talk about it. You with the alternative you came up to all those people that are with Windows 7.
Okay, I'm looking at it, but I'm not understanding it, but I'll wait for you.
All right, on the first page.
No, that's okay. You can, yeah, it's fine. Go ahead and do the stuff, and you can stay online.
No, I'm gonna go mute anyway.
All right.
Okay, because I'm gonna be making noise here.
All right.
So.
All right, I'll be back soon.
All right, Spence.
Okay,
so.
Bye.
Gal.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Firefox.
Oh, the vulnerability that you sent. That's a scary one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amnon had an interesting idea. Oh, no, it wasn't Amnon. Sorry, Amnon. Tried to give you credit for something. Our friend Brian had an interesting idea. I sent that to him, and he said, I wonder if this is really a bug or a purposeful backdoor. We was wondering if maybe this has been something that's been out in the wild, if these Chinese companies have been using this, and somebody finally decided to talk and leaked it. But it allowed complete code execution with no prompts, no, all you had to do was visit a malicious web page, and it would run. It was right at the end of the JavaScript compiler. Complete code execution, no prompts, no pop-ups, nothing. Which is the worst kind of virus. I mean, you could click on an ad on Facebook and have your whole computer get infected.
Right, incorrect alias information.
Yeah, it's the first time that I see Firefox actually doing an update and not asking you.
Oh yeah.
I beg to differ. I don't remember it. I do remember it requiring asking me to update, but not.
Oh no! It did it, and it says restart your computer. I mean, restart Firefox now. In order to finish.
That's the default setting.
And if I didn't, there was no way to say later or whatever. If I didn't do it, and I shut it down and bring it up again, it'll do the same thing. It will not let me go on. So I finally did. It didn't take long, but it was fine. But the weird thing is that I have Firefox on 1, 2, 3 machines right here in the studio, and it did all of them at the same time. And normally you don't see that. It's like an update. You'll see this, and maybe the next day the other machine will do it, and they're like spread out. No, this one, that's it. Got to do it now. And the same thing on the machine at my desk. But the funny thing is, I really thought that it was on a malicious website because it acted kind of funny with those updates, not normal. And I was in the middle of doing a show, so I didn't pay much attention to it. But I said, well, come on already. You never did that before. And but then when I read this, Nick sent it to me.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, okay, that's why.
I got an alert from Homeland Security about it. That's where I first saw it.
We
got a note from.
One thing that I find very interesting is I can't get the information. So it is it says that it affects the Firefox line of products, right? And it says that that it's fixed in Firefox 72.01.
Right.
What I couldn't find is which version of Firefox it affects. Like, when did this start?
72.
Yeah.
72 is the latest version.
Yeah, now there's 72.0.1 is
right.
the update.
Right. So to your question, whether this might be a malicious, intentional, being an open source project, having some developer intentionally put it in, I doubt that's the case. If that would have been the case, then I'm guessing that this would have survived longer. This literally survived like for a few days.
Well, maybe it's existed in previous versions and
nobody found it.
Nobody knew about it till 72.
Right. So the way CVEs, the finding of vulnerabilities, the cataloging of vulnerabilities works, is that usually that will detail, right, what piece of software is affected. And that CV, well, I haven't gone to the CV yet, so you know what? Let me read the CV itself.
It was a quick fix. I mean, 70. It was out for like 3 days before. Now, obviously, 3 days is still a long time, but 3 days before this alert came out, and it's. I think most people, like myself included, don't really worry about getting viruses because you have to go to websites and click things and download things and run things. But man, stuff like this Firefox exploit, and it's not just Firefox. I mean, this has happened in other browsers too. It's super scary that you could just, I mean, I'm on Twitter all the time. I click on links on Twitter all the time. That you could just click a link on Twitter or on Facebook or on Reddit or anywhere else and have this code executing in the background and never receive a pop-up until you're totally screwed.
Right.
That's super scary.
So you mean all those Ukrainian websites I go to, I need to worry about?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Well, unless you're not running Firefox.
So what you...
I just find that crazy.
Interesting.
Spence, did you find anything?
Yeah, I have like kind of a daisy chain of power strips.
So did you find something that was loose?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We're good. We're good. I just I was pushing the limit here.
That's all right.
Too much stuff plugged in.
I
have everything running off of a 1929 power cord.
Yeah, and the whole house runs out of
one
outlet.
House, yeah.
Outlet.
Yes,
one outlet.
On one old screw-in fuse. No, it was just so weird how it. I moved and everything.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not sure if if the computer went to sleep or it actually powered off, because then when it came back on again, I actually still had the text box open and my XSplit actually said your computer went to sleep. So I'm not really sure what happened once I got the screen to come back.
Oh, sorry.
So something sent a signal to the machine to go to sleep, and I was like, how did that happen?
John says, wrap the fuse in foil.
That's it. Or put a penny. I'll put a penny.
Put a penny in there. Yep.
Yeah, that'll work.
All right. Here's something else. In an apparent swipe at PayPal's recent $4 billion acquisition of Honey, a popular browser extension that tracks prices and discount codes, Amazon labeled the service as a security risk.
Of course.
For shoppers over the holidays. Honey tracks your private shopping behavior, collects data like your order history and items saved, and can read or change any of your data on any website you visit. The message reads, to keep your data private and secure, uninstall this extension immediately. It was followed by a hyperlink where users could learn how to do so. Screenshots of the warning were posted on forums and social media by Honey users like editor of Politico. Now, I don't remember who told me about Honey. Either
I did.
You did. I installed it.
Mhm.
Never did anything for me. It always
Oh.
pops up. It wants you to log in. The price is already there, and it's sort of like, okay, now what?
I use it. It saved me a whole bunch of money.
Well,
Yeah, me
maybe I'm
too.
not using it right then.
Well, you just have to log in. Just create an account.
I did, and
Then log in.
whenever I go. Oh, you see, that's the thing. I don't log in until it pops up and say, "Go ahead and log in to check."
No. Okay. So I'm with Nick here. It saved me a lot of money as well.
Okay.
But you gotta log in because that's the way it does the tracking.
Well, why doesn't it log in automatically by default?
It does. Well, it's probably because the way you're using it, you're using Firefox like me with the temporary containers.
Right.
So you need to make sure that when you log in without any container.
Okay, you need
because it needs
again,
on the base.
Again, you need to show me next time.
Yeah.
You're here.
I'll show you.
Okay.
So yeah, Honey's great. I've said I bought that radio. I bought a radio from Crutchfield a couple weeks ago. It saved me like $28 or something on that with some discount code for the new year. It doesn't really do anything on Amazon because
it does.
Amazon. Oh yeah, I haven't had the best luck with it. I've saved a couple bucks here and there, but for sites that are not Amazon, like if you're buying a domain or buying eBay is good too. There's lots of promo codes on eBay. It's fantastic. And yes, it's stealing all your data? Yeah, but I mean, so is Amazon. I love the Amazon's got the gall to say, "Oh, delete this extension. It's tracking your data."
Yeah.
Yet Amazon is tracking your data, and you search for a computer on Amazon, and then the next thing you know, you're listening to the radio, and Amazon's hacking into your brain and making you think about computers. I mean,
Yeah, Amazon is the one to talk about.
Yeah, that's some bullshit. Yeah,
risky.
seriously.
Yeah. I feel
We're disturbed and outraged.
Yeah. Go work for 18 more hours, slave worker. Pee in a barrel.
We're disturbed and outraged. Hold my beer.
Yeah, that's stupid. No, it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not a malicious add-on.
No,
I'd
it's
highly
not.
recommend it.
But the interesting thing is, I mean, I said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to get rid of it. And when I clicked on it, it opened a whole list of different prices that I said, oh, so it was doing something, but why didn't it tell me about it? So it's those containers, which I still have a problem because every time when you go and you check here and check there and you open another window, the container thing is messing you up and you have to log in again. But you told me before that you have to log in without, you have to add it to somewhere, and I could never figure that.
Or you can use specific containers for a specific task.
All right.
I'll show you.
Yeah. But, okay, good. So I'll go ahead.
Oh, Nick is putting his.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
No, good move. Good move.
Is there a way? I'm looking. Is there a way to view what you've saved money on with Honey? I can't seem to find it in the extension.
That is a good question.
So I'd like to be able to tell everybody what.
I don't know. I clicked.
I know Rakuten does that, but I don't know about.
Yeah.
When I clicked on it, it opened up a list of all the places that I went to shopping, and it showed what it was the original and what it could do for me.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if it will show me where I've saved money. Let's see. Feed. Today's top deals. Stores you should follow. No, I don't think it. Huh. That's kind of stupid. You know it's collecting all your data. Why doesn't it just tell you?
Well, there's first of all, there's the drop. Well, there's the drop list, right?
Yeah, that's so that it will send you an alert when the price goes down. Yeah, I don't see a.
Yeah.
I don't see a history. That's lame.
It's
I wish
just
they
a
would.
list of where you've been and what you've seen, but not
Yeah, I mean
not
it's
anything. Yeah.
it's I haven't been using it all that long. I've heard about it for forever, and I thought it was just kind of a sham because it sounds like, oh, save money online. I've probably saved 50 or 60 bucks with it so far.
There was another program some time ago that had a green icon. They did sort of like
it's Ebates. It's called Rakuten today.
Yeah.
No, it's a different name.
And that works well too, right? Because you buy stuff through Ebates, and then they get the commission from the store, and then they share it with you.
It wasn't
something
Ebates.
like that. Yeah.
But Honey's a direct save.
Well, Honey and Ebates are actually exactly the same. They're just a different operator. So Honey has that same functionality of getting you cash back through them, but they're a lot better at the coupon aggregation stuff. And Rakuten has coupon aggregation, but they're a lot better at just giving you cash back later on for the deal. So yeah, if you'll notice, you cannot activate both. So if you activate one and then you try to activate the other inside the store, it'll tell you you're already affiliated to some other, right? So you can't use this. So
no double dipping for you.
Yeah.
All right, listen to this. The beginning of the article is it says, what? A new U.S. law prohibits broadband and TV providers from charging rental fees for equipment that customers have provided themselves. So now they're going to pass a law. They can do that in the Congress. You know, they have time for this. Not talking about impeachment.
That's because they want to get reelected.
And they're going to pass a law that says that gas stations cannot charge you for gas. I mean, Shell cannot charge you for gas that you filled up at Texaco. You know, or you know, different gas. What is it? If it's mine, how do they? What do you? Somebody actually paid rental fee for the modem or router that they provided themselves?
Yes.
Yeah,
this
I
is a
did
huge
hear.
issue.
We heard this story a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the circumstances were. I tried to drill down into it to find out, is this like an oversight that allows them to do it, or is it a policy? And
it's a policy.
But it's crazy. It's it's just,
you're paying for equipment that you literally do not have.
I think it's got something to do with where it's in our network. So we're servicing it and supporting it. So we have to pay us, basically. There used to be, remember when you first started to own your own phone, Amnon?
Yeah.
There was some kind of a charge that you had to pay.
That was
to
a
have
fee.
Your own phone.
That was a fee. That's fine.
Fee.
I mean, if it's a fee, it's a different story. But rental, like I'm renting it from you?
It's probably a way to get around it. It's probably a way to get around it. What was that, ringer equivalence? Remember that?
Yeah, because it has to be a certain ringer equivalent.
Yeah, because they said that, well, if we don't know what the basically the resistance factor was on the network, we have to calculate how much the ringing will affect the network, which was probably bogus. I mean, there might be some old phone company guys out there that'll say, "Oh, we have to know what the ringer equivalence is because it could put a drag on the network."
Obviously, it went away, and they don't require it anymore, and everything is working.
I mean, tip and ring, it might be part of the standard. They may have had to know in the old days.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but we don't have a phone that you can use because the phone I have is too much tip and ring, and you're going to have to get a phone that has less tip and ring. So I'll have to come back.
About? What is this? Own your phone. The phone company used to own you'd rent the phone.
Oh yeah,
from them?
you would lease the phone from the phone company. You didn't own it. And
in the early days, you couldn't go and buy a phone. I mean, phone through landline.
Yeah. When they deregulated the phone company, people were suddenly now allowed to own their own equipment.
Yeah.
So you start, and they fought tooth and nail. They made it as hard as possible. You had to tell them, if you bought a phone, there was something on the back that said ringer equivalence factor. And it was basically a formula that was, what is the impact on the network when we send our signal out, which is it's like 100 volts. It's not, if you were to touch the wires in certain circumstances, you could get a shock. It wouldn't kill you. It's not, it's
it was,
but it's a voltage that gets sent
it
out.
was 90 volts or something like that.
Yeah,
80,
something like that. But they had to plan on what what that load was, so they could have enough power at the central office to drive the ringer.
Alan is putting in the chat. He says, if there wasn't a bell to sense, it was possible trouble on the line.
Yeah, so they actually looked at the resistance.
Yeah.
They could use the time domain reflectometry, it's called. It's where they can actually look at and find out where there are breaks in the line or issues with the return signal that comes back. And yeah.
Yeah, and he says you weren't even allowed to hook up your own extension. And I remember you had to notify them that you have an answering machine.
Yes.
Because that also was...
Oh, no, this is all valid stuff. I mean, I remember we used to go and spend a week at Cape Cod in the summertime, and in the town of Eastham or Orleans as the French Cable Museum. French Cable Museum was where the first transatlantic cable coming over from Europe, it's the first place it touched in the United States. I think there was several places in Canada that it touched first. But in that town was where the cable came ashore, and in their building was where the cable operators would operate, and it was basically a relay station to send the cable from there to somewhere else. It might have been Boston, and then further down, eventually made it to New York City. But in order for that cable to work, they had to do what they call balance the cable. Eventually, balancing the cable allowed them to send a signal in each direction simultaneously. To balance the cable, they had to have the equivalent electrical distance of the cable in the basement of the distance to Europe. So they had like 2,000 to 3,000 miles worth of cable in the basement of that place. And they used something called, I'm getting into detail, I know it's too much, something called a Wheatstone bridge. The Wheatstone bridge was an early electrician's device that would use to measure resistance and voltage. And they would balance, every day they'd have to balance that system to get it to work right. And there would be operators that would, the early days of the system, they would send a voltage across the system. It took 3 people on each end to operate this thing. And they would watch a light that would go either on the left side or the right side of a line. And the light was done by a candle, literally going back and forth. It went to the left for a dash and to the right for a dot. And that's how they sent signals back and forth. It was very slow. But, and this museum is fascinating because they have every single bit of equipment that was ever used in this transmission system was, when they closed the system in the 1950s, it was owned by the French government, and the building was owned by the French, and the land was owned by the French. They closed the system down, they locked the door, and the French government said, no, this land will never be sold until something happened in the 1980s. And they finally decided to open it up and look at it, and everything was still there. The calendars were still on the walls. If the employees left all this stuff on their desks, it was like just a time capsule from then. And they took all this equipment out, they renovated it, and they got everything to work. Fascinating. If you ever go there, Nick,
where is this in?
It's on Cape Cod.
Oh, okay.
And there's also a Marconi museum that's just equally as fascinating. There, that has Marconi operators that used to run the wireless stuff there. I actually can show you on the wall. I have a printout of a Marconi message that the guy sent. One of the original operators, who's like in his 90s, might not be there anymore, who put a message together and ran it through their teletype for us. It was fascinating. But yeah, cool stuff on Cape Cod.
So crazy outside of that is how rapidly that technology has changed.
Oh, yes.
I watched a little thing last night before I went to bed. It was a Bell South promo for single sideband over their long line sites with AT&T, and they could do 6,000 calls per frequency instead of 3,000 because they were doing different frequencies on single sideband. So you have your middle carrier and then your 3,000 calls on the left, 3,000 calls on the right of the carrier. That wasn't that long ago. That was like late 70s.
This is
and you've gone from that to, in 40 years, this, where we're all having a high-speed conversation. God could be, or I could be, or anybody could be across the freaking world, and there would be no noticeable delay. It's astonishing how quickly it's changed.
Part of my tour in Alaska is talking about telecommunications and how it evolved from 1898 to today, and how it before the Air Force built bases in Alaska, they could make 2 phone calls simultaneous from Alaska, from Fairbanks to Nome, 2 calls.
Let's see.
And then the Air Force put in the first early microwave systems, and they had so much extra bandwidth that they were giving it to the local phone companies so they could use it for communications. Wasn't, they had to run wires. I mean, there was some limited wireless, but it was not good for voice communications. It was good for telegraph.
You just wonder if, like, from the 80s till today, 40 years, if that change will ever be as noticeable.
Yeah.
How much quicker can the internet get?
Well, there are improvements in fiber optics. Who'd have thought back? I used to teach a wireless class, fiber optics class, I should say. Sonnet Communications back in the 90s, when they were just starting to talk about 10 gig fiber optics and time division, or wireless DWDM, digital wavelength division multiplexing, and how that was going to revolutionize. You'll have all these basically different colors of signal going across the same physical fiber, and how that added all this capacity. The problem was they built out all these networks, so much capacity, and then the market crashed in 99, and they had all this capacity. So the companies that built that stuff tanked because nobody was buying anything, because they had built out so much capacity. Nobody needed it. And it wasn't until like the mid 2000s before people started to actually need the bandwidth again. But now they've got 40 gig per physical wavelength of capacity now in these fiber optic networks. So 40 gig per physical, and that's you can get all these across one single fiber.
Well, now you can go. I'm just looking. You can go on eBay and buy a used Cisco 10 gigabit switch for $70.
Yep. And they said later. I went to a class that was for what they called RCDD, Registered Communications Distribution Designer. It came out of the phone companies. It was you had to be certified in order to build physical plant inside a building. And I took the class and had a certification. And so I could design, based on phone company standards, what the telecommunications plant would be on a campus or a building. And we went to a class, and the AT&T guy told us that gigabit over physical copper pairs was theoretically impossible. We can't do it. You cannot read a signal over that distance. You can't make it go 100 meters. Impossible.
Now you can buy okay. Never, but we okay. Sorry, I'm not forgetting.
No, it's fine. This reminds me of what's his name? The big authority about computers was with
Dvorak?
No,
John C. Dvorak?
No, not Dvorak.
Oh.
They were in the same circle. The one that does the testing of ports and stuff.
Tom's Hardware?
No. Oh, geez. It was right here. He had a column in the Computer Shopper.
Oh, I know who you mean.
Did he write SpinRite?
Oh, Steve Gibson?
Steve Gibson, yeah. Oh, yeah. He said, yeah, he made a lot of claims of hard drives will never be bigger than a certain size.
Steve Gibson's an idiot.
Yeah.
To be fair,
He was saying in an article, I think I still have it somewhere, that 33 megahertz CPU is the fastest it can be. I mean, he said we reached the top. That's it.
Well, to be fair, Steve Gibson still says that Windows XP is the quintessential operating system.
Well,
I'm not kidding. I mean,
yeah.
if you listen to Security Now, he's still
and I
talking
think,
about stuff.
and I think his main point is from a security perspective. Once,
Yeah, but who cares?
who cares? That's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, hand crank
Yeah, but
cars.
he's wrong.
And,
No, I
hand-
mean, if you remember plugging it to, as long as you don't plug it to a network, it's probably right.
It's great. Yeah. Yep. As long as you never turn the machine on, it's totally safe.
Yeah.
I've got a quick story. So everybody's favorite internet service provider, my personal favorite internet service provider, Spectrum, Charter, Time Warner, however you'd like to name them. They have, or were selling a service. You may have seen it in the past. It's their home security service. You may have seen somebody with like that, one of those yard signs outside in front of their house. Well, on February 5th, they are getting rid of that service. So they are no longer going to offer home security.
Really?
Yes.
So they're going to hang all these people out to
Wait,
dry?
listen, wait.
Including all of their smart home devices, including cameras, motion
Oh.
sensors, smart thermostats, and in-home touchscreens. None of those devices will be operating anymore and will have no use. So this one guy was interviewed from California. He has $900 worth of equipment in his house, and it is all going to be useless in less than a month. And Spectrum
is
is
what
pretty much telling him to
Lowe's-
go pound sand.
This is what Lowe's did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but somebody
Except Lowe's
bought.
would give
that
you
was-
they'd give you a new device.
Yeah, they would.
Spectrum's telling you to go shove it up your ass. I mean, seriously, they're literally giving. This guy spent $1,000 on equipment and installation, and the service is going to be worth nothing.
Yep.
None of the devices will work. None of them.
So Spectrum,
How is
when
that
you
possible?
when you go to their webpage, at the top of the page, it says join the SIUYA program.
What does that stand for?
Shove it up your ass program.
I mean, seriously. I can't. We're not talking about some Chinese company that was like Amnon's got that hook device. What was it, Amnon? $35 on Amazon?
Right.
If those guys leave you high and dry,
As is
it's not
right.
the end of the.
Yeah,
it's
no big deal.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. You're buying a 35. We're talking about the second largest internet service provider in the country.
And you talk.
And
You
they're
also
just shafting people.
you're also talking about your homes and business security alarms
Yes.
and stuff. It's not just a thing to turn off the light somewhere. You know, it's this is serious. Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
I can understand. I can understand a small company or somebody not supporting it, but Spectrum.
Yeah.
And then their response is
Too bad.
go to hell.
Not
I
our
mean,
problem. Yeah.
Yeah. They said they're aiming for a smooth transition. They're just
what?
shutting everything off.
They're going to give you a lot of Vaseline.
Oh, this just appeared on my screen.
Some baby oil. A smooth transition.
Yeah.
This just popped up on my screen. Do I need to be worried?
Oh, is that a Spectrum warning? Just shut off
Yeah.
your internet?
Well,
You've
they
been
say
talking
something.
about
that-
us. We
Spence.
know.
My mother just sent me a text and said that one of her coworkers has all of the security and all of his devices from Spectrum. It's almost unbelievable, isn't it?
It is unbelievable.
Spectrum,
It's
again,
ridiculous.
that's the most astonishing part of it. Lowe's shuts down their thing. Okay, great. Lowe's, the place where you buy lumber.
Mhm.
But Spectrum,
Yep.
who's still providing internet and cable and phone, was it really that big of a loss leader? They couldn't
It's funny.
outsource it?
It's funny how they had just announced and put in their stores like a home networking kiosk center with advisors that were going to help you design. And within days of putting that in a store, they announced they were getting out of the business.
Oh.
I should go to the
Weird.
Spectrum store here and try to buy home security and see if they'd sell it to me. I wonder if the salespeople have gotten the memo.
Good question.
Hi, I'd like to buy $900 worth of home security equipment that you're going to shut off in approximately 20 days. Oh, sure. Sign up right here. We'll sign you up for a 3-year contract.
Pay. We'll give you a discount if you pay in advance.
Oh, okay, great. Perfect. I'll give you my $1,000 now. Great.
All right, Spence, you ready for specials?
Yes, I am. I am ready.
All right.
So, Computers 2K Now specials for January 12th, 2020. And we've got the great pleasure of announcing a new product, an alternative to people who have Windows 7. It's the new Amnon 16K. This is a new computer that we're introducing.
That's what that is. Okay.
Yes.
Does it run vMix?
It runs everything.
Wow.
Whatever you want it to run. It's totally virtual. So whatever you want it to run, it will run.
Amnon's probably got one of those in his storage unit.
He does. He's got. That's where they're actually stored out there. We had to go out and test them all out, dust them off, blow them out, get rid of all the rat turds that were in them. So we're all set.
It's got a joystick, Nick.
It's all sliders. There's no keyboard, if you notice.
Yeah.
It's all sliders. Yep.
Like a Korg Nano controller.
That's it. Yep. So it's actually very futuristic looking, if you see. It's pretty cool. But so it's $13,995, and we will deliver it. That's the only way you can get it. We can't ship it through any other means. So it's $20 a mile from our outlet here in Raleigh. So get your orders in now. So
wait, you forgot to mention the phone number. The phone number is 1-866-GET-CABLE. It's actually we're using Spectrum as our purchasing service. So
now we do have there is a dedicated cable port right on the back.
Oh, fantastic!
So you can
and a home security port.
That's it. Home security port. This is your way of monitoring your Spectrum home security system.
Yeah.
It works very well. We've been very carefully tested, and support for the Spectrum cable will begin in 20 days.
Fantastic.
So great. And we're also introducing our, just in case, if there's ever a day when we're not available to put together the specials, this is the fallback plan for those of you who can't do, excuse me, can't live without the specials. This is your cheat sheet. This is what you have to do. Take advantage of the store, go to the store, look at tech stuff, right? You figure out what's cool, you buy it. You use it a lot, you tell people about it, and you relax. Okay? Got that? So this is when I'm not here, if I take the day off or something like that, you have a plan.
You have to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So starting with staples, we have Altec Lansing waterproof Bluetooth headphones for $23.99. That's $10 off. I usually don't mention stuff like this, but sometimes the ads get a little thin and there's not a whole lot of stuff of interest. These are actually useful things. This is a corded device. Sometimes these corded things work pretty well. I like the kind that have, they don't offer a lot of opportunity to be destroyed. It's inexpensive too. For $23.99, if it lasts a year in casual use, the problem you have with the cord is that it can get caught on stuff. So if you use them working or working out or things like that, you might get it caught on something. But hey, $23.99, give it a try. All right, we've got a Brother 3270 color single function laser printer for $199, which is $50 off the regular price. Great price on the original wireless Bluetooth keyboard, multifunction keyboard from Logitech. This is the K480. It's been out for a while. It's $27.99. It's $22 off the regular price. This was the original multifunction keyboard. It allows you to select between 3 different Bluetooth devices. The yellow band you see here is actually a slot for you to put in a tablet or a phone. It's really set up for traveling, but it will work with multiple devices. It will work with a laptop. It will work with your phone. It will work with a tablet. So good for travel. Which leads us to the next device, which is one of the formal multi-device, the new technology, multi-device keyboards. This is the K780. This is the mid-range of the multi-device. This is $59.99, save $20. And then we've got the Logitech K375 multi-device keyboard. This has a dock for a phone keyboard. It's got a stand. It does support 3 devices. It's $29.99, save $20. This is the low end multi-device. All right, we've got some deals on some Lenovo laptops. Got a Lenovo L340 IdeaPad with a Pentium Gold processor for $249, which is $170 off the regular price, 15.6 inch. We've got a Lenovo S340 IdeaPad 15.6 inch with an i7 for $569, which is $230 off the regular price. We've got a Dell, hang on a second, it's an i5 desktop here for $449, which is $180 off the regular price. We've got a Dell 21.5 inch LED monitor for $89, save $70. And we've got an HP 31.5 inch monitor for $179, save $50. There are several Netgear wireless routers out there today at the Staples site. Now, this is the one that's probably the best deal. It's a newer version. There's several out there that have the same features. A lot of the Netgear routers have the ability to plug in a USB drive or a flash drive to share on the network. Some of them mention it in the name, some don't. This one, what I like about this is an AC 2400, which gives you faster speed, overall speed, dual band. But it also has the ability to plug in a couple of USB devices to share on the network. And $129, it's $70 off. They do have a couple other ones out there that are lower speed. There's one is an AC 1900. I think there's an AC 1700 that all have that same capability. But this is the one that's got the fastest overall wireless throughput. We've got a Netgear 16-port gigabit Ethernet unmanaged switch for $89. It's $20 off. Got the Google Home Hub smart home controller for $99, save $30. Got a Samsung 500 gig SSD. This is the 860 EVO. I actually have installed 2 of these. This is pretty much the standard price on Amazon. So you can get this on Amazon and have it delivered or go pick this up at the store. This is the sale price you'll see in the stores, same as the Amazon price. If you want to get it like right now, you can go pick it up in the store. Great little drive, comes with the Amazon data migration software, makes it really easy to just in a very short time, you could use a USB caddy and transfer over to this and just plug this drive in and it goes. Like I said, I've used this twice. I've just installed this same drive in my work desktop, and I'll be doing 2 of these tomorrow. I played with this on a test basis for the last couple of days, doing some different scenarios using different software to migrate a Win 7 over to this drive. Okay, Seagate Backup Plus 32 terabyte USB 3.0 external hard drive, desktop hard drive for $114.99, save $25. Amnon, and they've got a great deal on multi-fold towel, 1-ply multi-fold towels, and it's a new look. That's what made this really stand out as
it's not as compressed.
Exceptional product. 12% off, so it's $27.49 instead of $31.27. And apparently there is some logic behind these weird prices. When it's $31.27, it means something, and you can go and actually find that out. It'll tell you $49 is a typical sale price, but $27, if it's $27 or $25 or $23, it means something. I have no idea what that is.
It means we got you.
you've got you. But there is something to it. If it's a clearance item, it'll be 25 or 23 or 21. It means something. This means something. All right, that's Staples. Now we go to Office Depot, Office Max. They also have a 340 series. This is the L340 Lenovo IdeaPad with a Ryzen 3 for $349. They've got a HP Pavilion AMD Ryzen 7 desktop for $549, save $150. I've got an HP 24-inch monitor for $99, save $30. And I got an HP Slimline desktop AMD A9 for $299, save $100. Acer 27-inch monitor for $139, save $40. Now, this is not the best price out there today. I did stumble across this for $24 at $24 $26 at Best Buy. But this is a handy device. The prices come down. It used to be really expensive. This is the SanDisk Expand Mobile Storage USB Lightning backup drive. It's both USB 3 and Lightning connection. So it's very handy with using on a Lightning device like an iPad or an iPhone, and to back up your information, and you can store it, move it to a computer. I mean, it would do things that you would do with iTunes or other software, but this does it on a much more granular basis. You're going to select the files and move them over. It doesn't do a bulk save. When you do a backup of your device to your iTunes, I don't think you can actually see the individual files.
Right.
So this would let you do that. Or if you just wanted to transfer, if you have some individual files you want to move, the way you would do it today would be you would share it somehow. You'd either send it by text or send it by email or something like that. So there's probably other methods to do it too. I use a program to back up my contacts, which works really good. It saves it as a file, and you can send it to different. You could save it as different file formats and email it, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, $34.99, save $15, but again, it's a little cheaper at Best Buy. 64 gig SanDisk Ultra USB flash drive for $9.99, save $18. Probably the cheapest price out there for a 1 terabyte portable USB drive, $49.99, save $25. Watch the warranties on this. I think the worst warranty you'll see on these things will be 2 years, but I would look for 1, 3 or better. The best ones are going to be 5, I think, or a lifetime. I don't think you're going to see a lifetime on a spinning drive. You might see a lifetime on a solid state, but all depends on how you're going to use it. Good deal on a Brother all-in-one laser printer, monochrome laser printer. This is printer scanner fax copier for $109.99, save $74. You can get the Google Home mini speaker for $24. It's half price, save $25. And I got a little lazy here, but these are good products. These are the Epson scanners that are, these are the reason you see the different prices here. They all look pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is, would be like this, the 369 one is wireless and set up for scanning receipts and has receipt software. The next one is wireless. That's the 299 one. And finally, the 249 one is USB only. So, but they all do pretty much the same functionality, except the high-end one has the receipt organization. And what's nice about the receipt thing is it crops the scan automatically for you. You put the receipt in there, and it doesn't have like a 8.5 by 11 page with a tiny little receipt on the bottom, which is a very nice feature. So good scanners on sale, respectively. The 369 one is 130 off, the 299 one is 100 off, and the 249 one is 80 off. Epson Workforce scanners. That is at Office Depot, Office Max. All right, finally at Best Buy, we've got a Dell 15.6-inch touchscreen laptop with an i3 for $349, save $100. What's going to happen with Intel? I mean, they're really struggling now. They've lowered their forecasts. They seem to be struggling technology-wise.
And we win.
Oh, we do win. But I mean, it's kind of like Boeing. Like,
That's all right.
Look at what's happening to Boeing now. It's just a shame. You got this huge company.
This is
make
not
some
the
really bad decisions.
This is not the first time that.
Oh no, it's not.
You know, it's.
But
fine.
I mean, hopefully it'll represent lower prices.
Yep.
And you know, more availability. So we'll see. All right, so that's a 15.6-inch Core i3 349 save 100. 15.6-inch Dell Core i5. Essentially, it looks a little different. Can't say what exactly. One has 128 gig solid state. The Core i5 has a 256 gig solid state for $499, save 100. Got an Asus Ryzen 5 14-inch touchscreen laptop for $619, save 80. Got an HP Core i5 desktop with a 512 solid state drive, 12 gig of memory for $599, save 100. And we've got a 10 gig, oh, sorry, I say 10 terabyte external USB 3.0 Western Digital desktop drive for $159, save $90.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was actually over at Best Buy yesterday. I bought a raw drive, which I'm going to put into a caddy. And I was looking to get it just be as cheap as possible for a 3.5-inch drive.
For how much was it?
$44.
For how much?
1 terabyte.
Okay.
And I had a cheap caddy. You know, I had a USB 3.0 caddy. I'm going to build it just to save images with this customer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm going to use a Cronus. But I was over there looking at drives, and they didn't have this. This was a good sale, and this just was too much money for me to spend on this customer. But all right, so we've got a HP 23.8-inch monitor for $99, save $80. We've got a Western Digital 2 terabyte USB 3.0 portable drive for $59. That's a really good price for a 2 terabyte.
Yep.
Say 50. We've got the Wemo Mini Wi-Fi smart plug for $19.99, save 10. Got the Amazon Echo 5 Show smart display with Alexa, 79, save 10. So Alexa charcoal. What is Alexa? How does Alexa say something different if she's charcoal? This is Alexa charcoal.
Let's not get into that.
Sorry. But I mean, does her voice raspy if it's
I don't
charcoal?
know.
If her voice was silver, would it, you know, be, I don't know. Okay. Now, this is a big drive, a flash drive. 512 flash drive. 512. Is it? I don't remember seeing one this big before. Do they make a thumb drive in 1 terabyte?
I don't know.
I wonder. Probably physically can do it. But look at this, $89 for a 512 drive. Wow.
Yep.
So PNY Pro Elite 512 USB flash drive, $89, save 40. And then finally, everybody has to have one of these. It's the Samsung Family Hub 22.2 cubic foot, four-door French door counter depth fingerprint resistant refrigerator. It's only $36,999, save $400. It's normally $4,000. Now, the reason for this is because people don't talk to each other, so they need to have a refrigerator to bring them together, right? The Family Hub. You know, most people have a kitchen table and they don't sit at it together, so they have to have the Family Hub. Notice all these sticky notes. Are these electronic sticky notes, or is
There
this?
must be.
It is. I realize that. But think about it. If you just sat and, you know, put your phones on the table and actually sat and looked at each other and talked, you wouldn't need a refrigerator with a smart screen on it.
I would agree. If I'm not mistaken, one of the features of this fridge are webcams inside the fridge that you can access from outside the home. So when you're shopping, you can look at what's inside.
See what's in there. You can look and see if but does it tell you if the milk has got lumps in it?
Probably not.
No. I was at somebody's house on Friday night for a gathering, and I met a guy from Lenovo, and we had a long discussion about, where is IoT going? And I brought up the original thought of the promise of having a smart refrigerator that would track food coming and going from the refrigerator, and how I said I don't think that's ever really taken off because of the how do you tag a bag of grapes, right? And how do you quantify, well, this is so many pounds? Nobody's done it yet. I mean, maybe there are places that do, but we just had a long discussion about, well, what's going to really, what will be the things that make it really successful? So it was kind of fun. So I brought up the smart refrigerator, but notice this is only 22 cubic feet. This is huge, and I think it's huge. Only. No, I mean, most refrigerators this size are 25. So I believe that the door with the smart intelligence in it takes up a lot of room. So it cuts down on the actual size of the available space inside.
For the 22. I don't know why I'm so bright suddenly.
I know.
Live from the moon. It's Gal.
I'll check that in a sec.
Ooh.
But I don't know why that's terrible. Okay, but now I'm out of focus. Okay.
No, now you're back. But it's too dark.
Better. That's bad.
That's okay.
A bit better. Okay.
Yep. You went one step to. Yep, that's it.
Okay.
So you were going to say.
Some light came out the windows. I'll shut the.
You were going to say about the refrigerator?
Yeah. So the price is for the 22 cubic feet. I'm guessing the photo is the same, whether it's a 27 or a 30 or a 25.
It's got to be deeper then, because the width, you can't really change the width much or the height much. Because it wouldn't fit into most conventional refrigerator spaces.
Yeah, but if you go to the store, right, and you look at the different fridges, there is a difference in height, and there's sometimes a difference in width. There's sometimes they're slimmer, sometimes they're just not as deep as you said, but the prices will be different for different sizes, right? Different capacities.
Oh no, I understand. I was just thinking that if this is a 22, the picture looks like it would I think it represents a larger.
Yeah, I think too.
Refrigerator, because it looks small. That's a big picture for a 22 cubic foot.
Amnon?
Oh, wait a second. Hold it. I just needed to see something here real quick. Because I heard somebody screaming.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. So Spence, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying that this particular image would suggest that this is a larger than 22 cubic foot refrigerator. So that's why I was commenting to say 22 is a fairly, and unless this is super insulated, that the walls are a lot thicker than they look. So
it's counter depth. So it's it's not much deeper than anything else.
That's got to be why then. That's got to be, it's not that deep. That's why it's only 22. You're right. Good observation. I read it myself and didn't actually register.
Aha.
All
right.
See, well, that's why Amnon, you're the inventor of the Amnon 16.
Yeah. All right.
That's it for Computers 2K Now specials.
And James is asking a question. He's looking for a good ceiling-mounted Wi-Fi access point.
Ceiling-mounted.
I mean,
I've got a recommendation.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people's first jump would be a Ubiquiti access point. And if you've already got Ubiquiti equipment and you've already got the cloud key and all those other things set up, I would say
definitely
that's a good way to go. So, but if you don't, and you're not really interested in investing in the Ubiquiti stuff, which is fine, Netgear makes a line of PoE, and you'll want a PoE if you're going to ceiling mount it. PoE,
Power over Ethernet.
Yeah, power over Ethernet Wi-Fi access points. It's called Insight. That's the name of the brand. They sell different versions of it depending on your speeds and what features you want, and you can and they're managed so that you can remote control them. They're not the cheapest thing in the world. I mean, you can get them for like $100.
That's not bad. Now, when you say managed, they don't require a central manager. They're managed independently.
Correct. And you can manage, I think you can have 5 on an account or 2 on an account for free. And then if you add more, I believe it's something like $5 a year for the management interface of it, which is a whole hell of a lot cheaper than the alternative. So I'm going to just post a link to one of them that I've used, and they work pretty well. It does not come with the PoE injector. You can get one for dirt. You can get a cheap PoE injector, or if you have a PoE switch, that will work. But these, I've had good success with these, and the nice part is their mobile app. It makes it very easy to maintain and manage the device, and you don't need unlike the Ubiquities where you need a cloud key and other things to have them really live up to their potential. These work pretty well.
All right.
So
hope that answered your question, James.
Yeah. Now, if you're looking for something cheap, just search on Amazon for a cheap one. You'll find, I'm sure TP-Link makes one. I'm sure eGenius makes one. But if you're looking for a quality one, I can recommend personally that Netgear one.
And is it, James, you want a standalone one? You want something that can form a mesh? That's another question.
Yeah. So those tend to work out pretty well. And the key is getting one that's PoE. That's going to be your
because you don't want to go on a ladder every time to reset it. And
well, it's not even that. It's the fact of not having to run 2 cables to it.
Yeah, that's right. Power.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, he says mesh.
Well, yeah, you've got Google makes a really nice. Well, a lot of companies make a really nice mesh product. Netgear has their own mesh product that is
the Orbeez
ceiling mountable.
I don't know if the Orbeez are ceiling mountable. Are they?
I'm not sure.
But if you're looking for mesh, I'd look at Orbi, because that's their mesh. That's their mesh product. But the Orbeez, from what I understood, were like little cubes that you sit down. So
Amazon has their own product now, the Euro.
That might not be a bad idea.
Amazon bought the Euro?
Eero, yeah, Amazon Eero, EERO, mesh Wi-Fi.
It's a gyro.
yeah. TP-Link.
Oh,
that's not a ceiling mount, but the TP-Link Deco whole house mesh Wi-Fi system, that's ceiling mountable. I couldn't believe when I was at Best Buy yesterday how much there is out there now. I mean, I stayed up on the technology. I'm just not up on the actual products that are out there.
If it were me, and if anybody disagrees, tell me. I would go with either Netgear, TP-Link, or Google. I don't know if you're gonna, because the mesh systems tend to be a little pricier. I wouldn't get a non-name brand mesh system because if one unit fails, it's gonna, it's a whole system. You buy one router and it fails, you can replace it with.
I really like TP-Link.
Yeah, so I'd go with.
I mean, I've always been a fan of Netgear. I've been using Netgear for over 20 years. I know the founder of the company. I used to work for Bay Networks, where Netgear was Netgear was a spin-off from Bay, and I knew the principals. Actually, it was Synoptics, I guess. So I knew the people over there. I used to order bulk internal orders from Netgear because I handed them out as goodies when I taught classes. I would just If you pass the test and at the end get certified on our network products, I will send you a Netgear hub, Ethernet hub, or a Netgear 20 meg network attached hard drive. It was great. So people had an incentive to want to be in the class.
So yeah, I'd stick with a name brand if you're going to go with a mesh system. Netgear, TP-Link, Google, Amazon. I'd pick one of those brands.
Yeah, the TP-Link 2-pack is only $116.
That's a good price.
All right,
but they're probably not ceiling mount, so you
So the circular housing, I'm going to make sure that the circular housing actually is a ceiling mount.
Yeah, and they might not be PoE at that price.
All right. AMD launched its new Ryzen 4000 series mobile processor for laptops at CES 2020. Along with a monstrous 64-core, 128-thread, third-generation Ryzen Threadripper workstation desktop CPU. In addition to the new processors, on the graphic front of the oft-leaked Radeon RX 5600 XT that targets 1080 gamers in the sweet spot of the GPU market was also made official. I wonder how much that is. But 64 core, 128, and guess what? Next week we're gonna read that they were lying. That it really wasn't. Just like who was that? Intel was saying that they have so many cores, and it turned out that they didn't. Or who? Can't remember. Somebody did.
Actually, AMD.
Oh, it was
leading.
AMD?
No, AMD is leading in this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the Ryzens are something pretty incredible.
Right.
Yeah, I've been watching them through one of the YouTube channels that keeps track on all of that, and pretty impressive.
Yeah. Something going on at Disney. Disney has done amazing work driving new users to its Disney Plus streaming service with low-ish price point and exclusive programs like The Mandalorian. But users this week began noticing that movies that were on the service just last month are already falling out of rotation without users being notified that they were disappearing. As 2020 began, some Disney users noticed that few film has gone missing from the streaming library. Dr. Dolittle, Pirates of the Caribbean, On Strange Tides, Home Alone 2, and others. All these titles disappeared without warning, and so far Disney has not commented on the title. Many fans are surprised by film dropping off the service, particularly since Disney hasn't issued press releases. I know what the problem is. We need to tell them to tune into the show so they can buy a new 10 terabyte drive from Staples so they can update their system.
I actually kind of disagree with that article. I've heard diddly squat about Disney. I mean, you remember when Netflix first started their streaming? Everybody's Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix.
Oh,
I've heard diddly squat about this.
About
yeah, I've heard a lot about The Mandalorian, but I'm sure a lot of people watching The Mandalorian aren't watching it through Disney Plus anyway.
You mean you didn't hear?
I really haven't heard a whole lot.
You didn't hear much in the news about Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, their new streaming service. Yeah. I mean, I know that I heard some stuff when it first came out, but I haven't heard people like ranting and raving over it, like I have with other services.
I got it because it was free for 1 year with Verizon.
Yeah, there you go.
And I watched all The Mandalorian. It was actually pretty good. But I watched one movie. That's all I've used it for. So.
Yeah, I just haven't heard people singing its high praises like I have with other services. Amnon, if you have Verizon, why don't you get it, Amnon?
Because it only comes with unlimited.
Oh, gotcha.
This is something we can all talk about. For as long as consumer electronics have existed, people have had a hard time ditching the old cords to expired and outdated devices. The TV sets, computers, printers, camcorders, VCRs, DVD players, mini disc players, Blackberries, and iPods that the cords belong to may not even be in their owner possession. But the cords survive, squirreled away in drawers and bags and boxes. They might be useful someday, people tell themselves, even if some cords' purposes are lost to history. I know I have a whole bunch of cords in storage in boxes. Stuff that
are you trying to tell me that my heavily frayed original iPod connector is not something worth keeping, Amnon? Are you trying to tell me that this cable's not worth keeping?
That am I trying to tell you that this cable is not going to become useful one of these days?
You don't think Apple's going to ditch Lightning and go back to the 24 pin? I mean, I'm banking on it. This is going to be a high dollar item.
Yep.
I don't even have a device that uses this anymore.
That's the whole thing.
I'm going to throw it away.
It's so throw it away.
I dare you.
But yeah, parallel
in the garbage.
Parallel printer.
Oh, I need it. No
cords.
Parallel.
The Centronics connector. Who even uses that anymore? No.
I can tell you, like my wife, she hates that drawer. Right?
Wait, are you trying to tell me that this USB to serial connector is not of any use?
Oh, no, don't throw that.
Now that is used. Yeah.
No, this is actually a useful cable because there's old hardware that needs it. But
yeah. Especially, now that you're in IT and no longer doing working with old radio equipment, then I'm guessing it's going to become a lot more obsolete than.
You'd be surprised though. Lots of phone equipment still uses that as an interface.
Yes. Switches. Some switches use that as like their management.
But the thing, Nick, is I would throw it away if it had a 25-pin serial on one.
Unless you worked in radio, there was a whole bunch of equipment that still had 25-pin.
Oh,
actually, I built a cable that had that or something. I don't remember what it was.
But yeah, there's every now and then. I know, Spence, you threw away a bunch of them, didn't you?
Yes.
I need to do that pretty soon.
Wait, are you trying to tell me that the Xbox 360 HD converter that I have sitting in my closet is not of any use anymore?
I have an Xbox 360 power supply. I don't have an Xbox 360 anymore, but I have the power supply. I've tried selling it. I got like 4 different people always pinging me. We're setting up the trade, but then they disappear.
How much are you trying to sell for?
I just want somebody to use it. That's all.
I mean, next time I'm up in Raleigh, I'll take it. Mine's a little flaky, actually.
I'll give that to you. So you see?
So I threw away the iPod connector. I threw away the small iPod connector. I'm going to add a huge Xbox 360 PSU to the mix.
No. Once you replace it, you're going to throw the old one.
No, I'm not going to replace it. I'm going to keep it as a backup. I'm going to be like Amnon.
I mean, I'm thinking about it. And in the Connex box, there's an HP3 LaserJet. And then there are 2 that are just for parts for it. And I'm saying, when am I going to use a LaserJet 3? It was a workhorse, but I mean,
I have an idea. The next show, we're not going to do it as a radio show like this.
We're going to do
we're going to set up a camera in your workshop with everyone with microphones, and it's just going to be a cleanup day.
That sounds like fun. We should actually do that.
Yeah.
We should go through some of the old stuff that Amnon's got and talk about it. That would actually be super cool.
Yeah.
I would just auction it. Hey,
we've got a
20
10100
cents.
switch, 10100 switch, 48 port 10100 switch, $5, $5, $5, $6, $6,
Nick, he has switches that are
Out the wazoo.
10 meg switches with
Yep.
100 meg uplinks.
Yeah, I saw though. He tried giving me one. I was like, I have no use for this.
Yeah. I mean,
I've gone through that box a couple
if
times.
I throw away all the useless stuff in that Connex box, I'm going to have a whole room to put new stuff in.
Do you still have any of those
newer old stuff that is
Yeah.
useless?
Do you still have any of those small VPN boxes?
Yep.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Wow. Those were good little routers just for home use when you had a separate.
How many do you need, Spence? Still sealed in the box.
Amnon's got Cobalt servers that run Cobalt. There is absolutely, they have 200 megahertz processors.
But
There
Nick,
is
if you wanted to
zero
set up,
use for those.
if you wanted to set up a very simple point-to-point VPN between two customers, you could use these are, what was the name of the company, Amnon? I don't remember the VPN company. It got bought by by Nortel. I don't remember.
Yeah, but what their speeds are? They're probably
well, no,
probably
it's
100 meg.
Yeah, but it's
I don't know that it's even 100.
It would set up two point-to-point IPsec tunnel between these two locations, and you'd have basically a point-to-point. It can do point-to-multipoint, but you'd have to have a controller for that. But if you wanted to have just a nailed-up tunnel between two locations, secure tunnel, and you'd have like 6 or 8 10100 ports on either side, and you just wanted to have basic communication, but secure communication between the two locations, it's very basic. It works great.
It'd be cool to test. I'd be curious to see what the setup process is like.
And it's web-based interface. You just have to. You'd have to have, of course, you'd have to. What did we do about NAT? I'm trying to remember how we get that to work around NAT.
I don't know, but it worked. It did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, I think it got around NAT somehow. Whether it would use Cone NAT or something like that, there was a way to get it to work.
So, Amnon and I did a little project this week. I don't know if Amnon helped me with it.
Go ahead.
I expanded my Linux volume size on Proxmox. And it was a rather interesting, relatively simple process once I figured out how to do it.
Yeah.
I have a Dell something or other desktop. It's got an older i7, 8 gigs of RAM, a 500 gig hard drive. And I run Proxmox on it, which is like a hypervisor. And I run a Linux Ubuntu OS and a Windows OS virtually. And I was running out of space on my Plex server, which runs on Ubuntu. So I assigned it more space from Proxmox, and then we had to run we were running a bunch of I don't remember what
command
the commands
line
were. They were let's see, the commands were QM and resize commands and fdisk commands to gain this to resize the partition. And once we figured out the right structure, it just worked. Didn't have to even reboot. It just, the size was available. I had an extra 100 gigs available. It's pretty neat. And that's the benefit of virtualization, is when you run out of space, you can simply...
and when you screwed up, you just rebooted it and it came back.
So now my next project is actually cloning, because it's a 500 gig hard drive. I'm going to clone that to a 1 terabyte so that I can give it a bunch more space, because I'm actually out of space again.
So you're running Linux with Proxmox on it?
I'm running Proxmox with Linux on it.
Oh, okay.
So Proxmox is the hypervisor that runs on the box, and then I'm running a Ubiquity, Ubuntu VM and a Windows 10 VM.
Okay.
Have you ever used Proxmox?
What file system does Proxmox host everything on?
I don't know.
It's whatever the operating system.
Right.
When you
Proxmox
say
itself is a distro, or
yeah,
is
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
on top of a Linux kernel?
Yes, exactly. It's a Linux. It's a VMware, free open source VMware alternative.
I know what it is. I'm just asking whether it's a distro on its own. Yeah, it looks like it's a distro.
Yeah, I mean
it's a Debian-based distro.
Yes, correct. Yeah, you run it
Okay.
as the base OS.
So one thing that you can look for, and especially if you're gonna set it up on a new hard drive, is have the hard drive run on ZFS or BTFS.
I actually read an interesting article about ZFS this week. I'm going to send it to you. It was by
Where was Linus Torvald?
Linus Torvald. Yeah,
that's legalized thing. That's legal thing.
Yeah, he wrote a very interesting kind of takedown of ZFS. I thought it was rather. I mean, I don't care either way, but I thought it was interesting to see somebody so prominent make a statement about it.
Well, first of all, he's right. He's completely right about the points that he's expressing. But it's also really unique to his position as being the man managing the Linux the Linux kernel. So the whole thing, I'll just give a quick background. ZFS developed by Sun Microsystems, and then which was bought by Oracle. It was part of Sun OS at the beginning. So all of the development today, up until about 2 years ago, was keyed into FreeBSD, BSD-based systems first, and then there is a port to Linux for the Linux kernel, and that has been the main focus for the past 2 years for the ZFS project. Now, with the real problem is that ZFS uses a different licensing scheme, an open source licensing scheme, than the Linux one, which is based on the GNU licensing scheme, and they are incompatible on purpose. They are incompatible. So when the project started on Sun side, Sun, I don't remember the lead name, who was the CEO then. They were all about open source, but they hated Stallman, which is behind Richard Stallman, which is behind the GNU world, and which is what Linus Torvald chose. And so this whole drama is around incompatible licenses. That plus Oracle and that's the article that you read. Linus Torvald is critiquing Oracle's behavior, litigious behavior of recent, because now there are changes in the kernel that seem to be breaking ZFS compatibility, and so the modules that ZFS that is required for ZFS to work on a Linux system might break. And when we're facing that right now, Linus is saying, as long as Oracle are not going to change or as long as the ZFS project is going to remain in that problematic license, he's not going to allow any code coming from that project to go into the Linux kernel, because then if he starts releasing the reins at this point, and then Oracle suddenly wakes up 2, 3, 4, 5 years after the fact saying, we're going to sue you because you're using part of our code.
And they did that before.
And exactly, because they have already done that. And I'll just mention Java for now, right? And so if that's the case, he says, I don't want anything coming from that project infiltrating into my project because it's going to break it, right?
Right.
And so there is no technical reason of not using ZFS, but there is a legal problem with using ZFS on Linux. Okay, and that's the whole article that came out. It's an official position of Linus about that. There is an alternative project, BTRFS, which is practically better FS. That's how they want to be called. That is a Linux-based, Linux licensed project. The problem is that it's not mature enough. There are really huge issues with its implementation when you're looking at it as an option for a production system. ZFS is there on a Linux system, while BTFS isn't really there. There's a lot of risk still running BTFS. So yeah, because Oracle backfired on the world with Java not too recently ago and asked every enterprise that's using Java for licensing per machine that's running Java, which is completely ridiculous for an open source project that was distributed the way it was before. I mean, if it was a new system and this is the way you're starting licensing from the start, and somehow you actually manage to sell it and it makes sense, go for it. But the way they flipped on the world with Java is ridiculous. And thankfully, a lot of other players just picked up that slack, and so the best Java machine right now out there is from Amazon, and not from Oracle, right? And that's how open source should work. Open source, the whole idea of forking and starting a new option, that's why open source exists in the first place. So seems like Oracle does not understand open source.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry for the long rant.
No, it's fine. What else? It's that time.
Oh. Yeah, I gotta go.
You gotta go?
Yeah, I gotta go. We gotta get out of the house and head somewhere. So. And my last final message is: grieve not for Windows 7, for her time has passed.
Yipper.
All right, have a good week. I'll be joining briefly next week from Atlanta, and then I'll be on my way down to from there to Florida to visit my uncle, who is unfortunately had a stroke, is in a nursing home.
Oh.
So he's doing okay. I mean, he's 87. But I got to take advantage of getting a chance to go down there and see him. So,
all right.
Have a pleasant week and happy. Don't grieve too much over
Windows 7. Anybody else? Nick, you started doing your show.
Yes.
Again.
Against the Norm is back.
And it's on the same station.
Yep. You can catch the stream on the website, atnshow.com, 7 to 8 p.m. on Sunday nights and 6 to 7 p.m. on Tuesday nights.
ATN show, Against the Norm.
And the podcast too, obviously, if
you
can't catch the time.
Yeah, so if you missed it live, you can go and play it on demand. All right. Gal, anything you wanted to add?
Nope.
All right. All right, guys, thanks. It was fun. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna, Dina. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. And update the Windows 10. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.